Hi, fellow female activists. Your wellness coach Cathy here, and we are here for our wellness playlist. We are talking about sleep. And anyone new here, hi, hello. We are talking about being proud of your sleep time. Okay, but before we start, we always have our positive quotient repetitions. Our positive quotient repetitions or PQ reps. And this is to help you drop out of the the madness that's outside of your externally outside of where you're at right now and let's put ourselves into our bodies, quite literally. So if you feel safe, and only if you feel safe, you can close your eyes. I will. And I want you to think about having a nice tall spine wherever whether you're sitting, standing, laying down. And nice tall spine, roll your shoulders back so you have a nice big chest. And what I want you to do is we are going to play with our breath a little. So what we're going to do is without taking too much into this, I want you to take a breath in through your nose, okay? And then I want you to let your exhale be longer. Doesn't have to be much longer, but just let it be longer. You can follow me or you can go on your own, but here we go. And you're going to breathe out through your mouth, okay? So you inhale through your nose and then you exhale slower, okay, through your mouth. Here we go. Inhale and then exhale slowly. Inhale and then exhale audibly with a sigh. Inhale and exhale with a sigh. Now, all we're going to do is notice our breath. And we want to just notice our breath, our natural rhythm. Stay curious and try not to wander away from your breath. If your mind's wandering, go ahead and just bring it back gently to the breath. And when you're ready, let's go ahead and blink our eyes open if you haven't already. All right. Hopefully you feel a little bit less stressed. That is positive question repetitions, PQ reps for short, and I can teach you more about that. Here we go. So today we're talking about, we are in our wellness playlist. We're talking about sleep, the sleep pillar. And I want you to be proud, that's the title of this, be proud of your sleep time. So here's a perfect example. So just this past Thursday, uh, my niece, my oldest, my one and only niece, actually, but she is now going into high school. So we went to her, our family went to, her promotion ceremony. And that was like so crazy. And as much as I wanted, to then go out and, celebrate with them, I attended the ceremony like I knew I could. But then I decided, you know what? My sleep is important. I would have liked to have gone to dinner with them, and I could have. There was nothing stopping me per se. And then I thought to myself, I know that I will feel better tomorrow if, in fact, I decide to just keep with my regular sleep schedule. So, I did not attend the celebration thereafter. But I went to what really mattered, right? So you make those trade-offs, but I don't even want to call them trade-offs because then you might feel like you're, you know, gonna feel guilty one way or another. No, I did not feel guilty. I knew automatically, I'm like, I like to protect and I'm proud of my sleep time. And that meant that I at least got to go, right, to the ceremony. And then afterwards there were no regrets. I went back to my residence and I had my regular sleep schedule and then I woke up like I knew I would the next morning. Um, knock on wood, I woke up, right? And not everyone. Apparently, the statistic is 3% of the population does not wake up the next day, right? So, something to keep you sober. But too many times when I was younger, okay, and even back then when I had been diagnosed back in 2001 with general anxiety disorder. And I had known that there was something different about me growing up, but just never, it wasn't something that as a Latina you went out and looked into. Mental health wasn't necessarily a big topic, especially in my community. But nonetheless, when I did, realize what was going on, I sought out therapy. And if you've never been to therapy, please go to therapy. It's helpful. I have been since back that time. That first time I went for almost 2 years. I attended therapy sessions and it was awesome. And ever since then, I've been into different therapy sessions. But what I'm getting at is that even back then, uh, I probably was a little hard on myself when it came to not realizing how important sleep was to regulating not just my nervous system, but also how my anxiety played out. And so I want you to realize how important it is that you keep to your regular sleep schedule. Now, if your sleep schedule is struggling, then yes, we want to improve upon it in that respect. But if you already have a solid sleep schedule and it's working for you, okay, be proud that you have one, a sleep schedule, two, that you're sticking to it as much as possible, and then three, no regrets about having a sleep schedule. You are keeping a sleep schedule because it's best for you. Okay. When you have proper rest and relaxation, right? When your body has been able to get the proper nourishment, quite literally, when you're asleep, everything is rejuvenated. Okay. Around the midnight hours when our um, human growth hormone releases. And that happens up until your last breath. So it doesn't stop. No, it slows down as we age. And yet it still happens because that's how we rebuild everything, right? So it's a good idea to try to be in bed before 10 p.m. because again, around midnight is when that HGT releases, right? And goes through its magical rehabilitation series. But regardless, okay, between preferably 11 and 2 a.m., 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. is when we want to definitely be asleep, right? Because that's when our bodies, again, will get the most benefit. With that said, everything changes. You're in these different seasons of life. And so I can understand why you may not be getting a lot of sleep, depending on what your situation is right now. And realize that the more sleep you can get, that's quality sleep, that really will make a big difference. And so be proud of whenever you get proper, nourishing sleep. You know, there's a previous video that I talked about with regards to sleep. It's more about, your actual like how you physically prepare yourself from the moment you wake up until which time you're ready to go to sleep again. That matters more than all the hygiene, all right? The um, external items we might bring into our environment to help us sleep. Now, I'm not saying they're not important, and they definitely help, uh, but just get more sleep, okay? So with that, I will let you go, and I'll see you in the next video. And then make sure that you go every end of the month to our our live yoga clinic.